Hey guys, it's your boy MKS here. Just got up. It's just after 9 o'clock. I've been up for since about 8:30. But anyway, today I hope later on possibly talk about some of my political ideas. But anyway, for this video, for those who don't know, M.G.T.O.W stands for. Those who haven't checked my previous video or for whatever reason haven't heard of it, M.G.T.O.W stands. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but M.G.T.O.W or M.G.T.O.W stands for men going their own way, and apparently it's a philosophy or a way of life, not a movement. And many people from the M.G.T.O.W group, if you like, get offended if you say a movement. I don't know if they'll get offended if you say a group, but I suppose it's a group of people in a way, or possibly individuals who have a philosophy. And I suppose it's stating that to reject society's rules over you as a male, especially from a certain age, to be in relationships or whatever. As I call relationships, I replace the P with a T. So, so anyway, I've watched a few videos on M.G.T.O.W, and in the past I thought I'm the only person, I'm the only bloke who doesn't have, who doesn't go out on dates, have girlfriends or stuff like that. I thought, other than gay guys, I thought I'm probably the only one who doesn't. But I know I made a video before about M.G.T.O.W, and I'm by no means an expert or whatever, but from what videos I've seen, like, as some people say, there's different levels of M.G.T.O.W. Some are like completely celibate, and some are people who have casual flings, but they're not interested in long-term relationships, which is probably category I would be in if I had the confidence or whatever, or if I was a bit more successful with the ladies or whatever. Sorry, I haven't really planned this as much as possible. I just thought I'd make a video about M.G.T.O.W Mondays. But so anyway, I know I hope people who are long-term M.G.T.O.Ws, or people who make these videos about M.G.T.O.W, won't be offended, or I hope I don't offend anyone actually, but I hope they won't say I've misrepresented the group. And I think I'm sure, for anyone who's heard of incels or whatnot, sorry, for anyone who's heard of incels, I'm sure if you are an incel, or if you're gay, homosexual, when we call it, in the closet, so to speak, I suppose that M.G.T.O.W would also be a group that would be good to be a part of, because obviously then it will probably help you with confidence, or like I say, if you're again, I don't want to offend anyone, but if you're a closet homosexual or gay person, then I suppose that I know I talked about wanting to make my videos family friendly, so I hope that I don't say anything I shouldn't say. But anyway, I suppose that if you were closet gay, M.G.T.O.W would probably be an ideal place for you to be. But I don't think all M.G.T.O.Ws are gay. In fact, many probably go on casual dates, but they're just not interested in things like weddings, like bachelors or eternal bachelors or whatever, which has existed probably since the beginning of time, really, but so to speak. But kind of, but obviously now there's a name for it. So anywho, as I say, it's different levels of M.G.T.O.W. Some are so people who just casually date or have one-night stands or whatever, and the others are like people who are completely celibate, or monks or whatever. That's why I've heard about different stages of M.G.T.O.W. And probably because of my paranoia, or I'm quite reclusive as well. I'm probably more towards the monk mode, whether I want to be or not. But anyway, and possibly because I don't want God to punish me, I'm more towards the monk mode of things. But yeah, so I thought I'd do a video covering about M.G.T.O.W. Now, I know people who talk about M.G.T.O.W say there's no leader of the movement. I don't think there was a founder necessarily, or anything like that. And they said, in fact, if anyone comes out and says they're the leader or the founder of M.G.T.O.W, they would be ridiculed or disowned by other people from this group, if you want to call it that, to make it simple. Which probably you could say is quite ironic, like a group to go your own way. But like if you think about the expectations of males in society, like to be providers, protectors, and things like that. For me personally, and people say it's a man's world. I say I'm not much of a man anyway, but if people say it's a man's world. I think if you look at a lot of the rules and expectations in society, I think, again, I don't want to offend anyone, but I suppose the grass is always greener on the other side, but I think like the opposite sex, if you like, has a lot of advantages that perhaps they don't realise. In fact, I think if a female, a woman, or whatever, or a female from a certain age, said they don't have benefits of being female, I'd say, if you look at it, let's say if you go on a date with someone, if you said to them, if you said, if the woman had to pay, many women would not. If the man said, "Oh, can you take this bill?" I bet they wouldn't go back on a second date or whatever. I bet they wouldn't see them again. So if you look at, I think there are lots of privileges that females have. In fact, a female Eurasian, roaming millennial is her channel, YouTube channel, and she talked about female privilege, and I think much of that, what she said, I actually agree with. And I think, today in society, let's say, for instance, if you're a bloke and you want to work with children, or maybe you're a bit naive and innocent and you go to a park and play football with children or something like that, let's say, or for Americans, soccer, if any Americans see this, then there's a suspicion about you because you're a male that you must be a predator, or that, and people assume before even if you don't do anything illegal or wrong or bad, people assume that you are a dangerous person because you're a male. If you look at females, like let's say women, sorry, to make it simple, who work with children or who interact with children or whatever in some way, you're not seen. No one will see you as a predator just because they wouldn't look at it and say, "Oh, why is an adult playing football or whatever with children?" But if you're a male, if you're an adult male, I think generally speaking, people look at you with suspicion. I suppose it's a bit like an African American. People look at you with suspicion just because you're black, and I think people take it for granted because you're male. That's just the way it is. That you should be looked at with suspicion. If you talk to a woman, or like nowadays, many males apparently are afraid to go into a lift on their own with a woman, or to be alone with a woman in case of, dare I say, false accusations or anything like that. And many people saying, again, I want to be careful what I say, I don't want to offend anyone, but many people saying that Me.T.O.W is a witch hunt and it's damaging relationships, and that's a lot of the people who say that, not necessarily even males. A lot of them are female, probably because they're afraid of relationships ending, or they're afraid of things like M.G.T.O.W and things like happening, and the end of things like marriage, or say limiting of marriage and things like. Say, especially traditional women, they probably want to see those sorts of things, and chivalry or whatever it is. And what I want to say is that if you look at something like Me.T.O.W, and if the impression that many people have is that it's made up, or that it's a witch hunt, or whatever you want to call it, a witch hunt in quotation marks, then I think that's quite dangerous for the real victims of abuse, because if there are genuine cases, then if people don't believe it because they think it's a witch hunt, then I think that's really important that Me.T.O.W and other things like that are shown that they are legitimately supporting victims and not just fabricated, for want of a better way of putting it. They're not just going after a male's resources or whatever. And people watch, some people watching, as I say, I keep saying I've got to be careful, because some people watching might say, oh, this guy's saying that we shouldn't listen to victims, or we shouldn't listen to Me Too. And what I'm trying to say is that, I hope this is making sense, but I think that, I hope my voice is clear enough as well. I think that there's a danger if people don't take these, anyone who does falsely accuse actually is not just making things difficult for innocent men. They're actually making it genuine victim. They're making it harder for genuine victims. Like, for instance, if you look at court, it's so if you look at court, it's something that, because there's so many court cases, it actually takes longer for someone to bring someone to court, to trial. As far as I'm aware, it takes a long time. And if there are more false accusations, so if that's dare call them that, then I think that it affects the victims in two ways. One, it takes longer to actually bring justice for the victims of actual genuine crimes or abuses or whatever. And secondly, it means that people might not take genuine victims seriously as much as they should. Anyway, I hope that made sense. I know it's a very controversial thing. I'm saying I hope I covered that topic specifically in a respectful manner. And please feel free to disagree. But I think that if that perception is that Me Too or things like that are not genuine, then I think that this means that genuine victims are not taken seriously. So, as I say, some people might look at this video and say, take it the wrong way and say that I'm actually saying that genuine victims shouldn't be taken seriously, which is not what I'm saying. So I hope that come across. I'm not saying that at all. But yeah, so, and a lot of things like males are expected to pay for things, pretty much everything, all the bills and things like that. Males are judged on, like some people say, if I can use this term, you shouldn't judge females, so again, say women, as sex objects. But many people say it's taken for granted that males are judged as success objects, so how much money you make. And you hear a lot of women talk about it. I don't want a poor guy, which is their choice, obviously. People make choices, so and I suppose women can choose who they find most attractive, or whatever, how much money you make, or whatever it is, which is fine. Because, as I say, I'm a great believer in libertarianism, free choice, and things like that. But I think it'd be wrong to tell someone this is who you must prefer, or this is who you must be with, or whatever. This is who you must fancy, or whatever it is. So I think people can make choices, but I think, again, if you make a choice, like a lot of people sort of call it shaming lines. They say, you know, if you're M.G.T.O.W, people say, oh, you must be gay, or you must hate women, or you must see women as only good for one or two things, or you're just a loser, or you're just someone who doesn't have enough money, or you just need more confidence, or whatever it is. And many people call this, rightly or wrongly, shaming lines. They say these are shaming lines that people say to try and guilt trip guys to be in relationships, which apparently, according to many M.G.T.O.W, society wants to put pressure on guys and say, if you don't have a girlfriend or a wife, you must be a loser, or you must be a freak, or there must be something wrong with you, which in my case is probably true. But many of those things are probably true, if not all of them. But yeah, so I thought I'd cover this topic. Hope I've given it some justice. And if you got any questions, please feel free to ask me. But I know a few people made videos about M.G.T.O.W, and some people might say, like, I'm jumping on the bandwagon because I'm a bit socially reclusive and shy and all that. I've never had any relationships for whatever reason. So probably because of my reclusiveness, shyness, awkwardness, and sort of possibly even autistic type of traits, and dealing with other people. And another thing I didn't feel to say, but sorry if this video is really long, by the way. I love my personal space. I love to have the house to myself. As you've probably seen in some other videos, I don't like sharing my room, partly because of my mental health problems and hoarding and things like that. But even if someone said, "Oh, what if you got those things sorted out? What if you managed to organise yourself and have a nice, neat room?" But I still don't think I'd want to share my space or my room. Today, I think it's really hope no one minds me running this video up to 20 minutes, but I hope that's not too long. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, today I'm not sure if I'd advise people to get married or have families if they're male, because I think dare I say most of the costs and responsibilities are down to you. Like, for instance, I was in the library in, dare I say, my local library, which I normally go to use Facebook and all that, and like playfully, okay, probably it was fairly playfully, but this girl was punching this guy, and they were joking about it. It's like kind of jokes, but imagine if it was the other way around. So I think the privileges that females have, like a female, again, sorry, I keep saying female, but I mean from a certain age onwards, they can hit males, boys or men, and it's seen as okay. It's sometimes seen as a joke, or people laugh at you, you got beaten up by a woman. But on the other hand, it's taken much more serious, and many social experiments have shown it's taken much more serious if it's done the other way. Again, having to pay for dates, having to pay for companionship, having to pay for stuff. Generally, the males have to do so. So I think there are double standards. Like people say, "Oh, women should earn more," and people might bring up the gender pay gap, but again, I've got to be very careful what I say, perhaps, and I don't want to offend anyone. But some people, I don't know if this is true, but some people say that there are some people who say the gender pay gap is everywhere and it's huge and it's a real big problem, and there are others who say that some people might even think it's one of the biggest issues of our time, or of all time, and other people say it doesn't exist, and I go somewhere in the middle. I think that it exists, but it's not, because I think if most companies are owned by white males, then they're going to have, subconsciously or otherwise, sometimes on purpose, sometimes subconsciously, they're going to employ people like themselves, and they're going to give the top positions to people like themselves. Whoever owns companies. But I think there are other things as well. Like, for instance, I would love to see women of colour, especially black women, earning more, and women of African descent and Aboriginal communities doing better. But I think that the way is not necessarily to say you must give them jobs, you must pay them more, and all this sort of stuff. I think it's also to say train them. Like, so train, say, for instance, black girls in technology, so that when they get older they can get those jobs, and then you can say they do have the skills, so they should be given the opportunity, or maybe even set their own businesses, so then they don't have to worry so much about discrimination. Obviously it's still going to exist, but it's not going to be the same. Like, I often talk about my fellow dyslexics getting jobs, setting up our own businesses, so then if we can, so that we don't have to say about an employer not giving us opportunities, because we create our own. Sorry if I'm waffling, by the way. But yeah, lots of topics to cover. I might even have to make more like this and try to cover more, just if I want to cover all the points. But so I think the gender pay gap, I'm sure it exists, but I don't think it's quite the same. If you get a woman who works in a factory versus a bloke who's a CEO, obviously it depends on the career. So some people might say women get paid less, but if you look at, like, some people say the hours they work are not necessarily the same. So I don't know how true that is, but the hours they work are not the same, and things like that. So I hope I won't offend anyone anyway. But if you disagree, please feel free to disagree in the comments below. I think I'm going to wrap this video up because it's really long. I do have loads of other things I want to say, but again, I don't want this video to be too long. I know it's quite long already, 20 minutes, but as ever, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like. If you disagree, please feel free to disagree. If I got any of my points wrong, or you don't think I've covered the topic well enough, or you want to educate me, then please post in the comments below, because then that's the only way I'll learn. Like, if you think that I'm wrong about the gender pay gap or certain other things, I'd love to hear your comments. Again, I definitely love to hear from people who agree with me as well. about female privilege or whatever. Anyway, peace and love.